This is the DAB590 podcast, hosted by Dan America Bruce. Dan imitates, impersonates, and cosplays characters created by Mike Judge. This is the DAB590 podcast. I'll tell you what. It's DAB590 or DAB590. I'm Dan America Bruce. I cosplay, impersonate, and do impressions of characters created by Mike Judge, like Hank Hill from King of the Hill, Beavis, and Butthead. And this is my podcast, DAB590 or DAB590, whichever you prefer. We're leaning more toward DAB590, which means I gotta change all the promos. Anyway, today's episode, spoiler alert, today's episode, or this episode, I'm saying today, I don't know when you're all listening to this, but in this episode, we're going to be discussing the new season of King of the Hill. That's right, season 15. Sometimes I'm really glad that this is pre-recorded, but I'm probably going to leave that in there just because I want to show everyone that we're getting better and there is some progression to this. We're going to be talking about Season 15 of King of the Hill with our special guest, Magic Moon 1111. Magic, want to say hello to everyone, just so everyone knows that I'm not crazy?
Hey everyone, how you guys doing?
And
happy to be here.
And that would be Magic. So, our guest is Magic. We're going to be talking about King of the Hill, Season 15. It's going to be a fun episode filled with King of the Hill stuff, and because it's the middle of the summer, and I don't know how fast or how soon people get into their spooky movie watching season, or how fast or how soon people start getting pumped for Halloween, but I'm one of those weird people that starts watching horror movies in August. How about you, Magic?
I'm the same way. It's like pretty much Halloween all year round for me. I'm always watching spooky movies, and I always hit the stores. I'm always at Home Goods around like the third week of July is when I hear, I know like people on TikTok have videos and they're like, code orange, like get to the store. And yeah, so I definitely do my shopping early.
All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to get into our first segment here, and we're going to get to know Magic a little bit better. We'll be right back. Enjoy my promo that isn't really a promo because I just made it to advertise my own stuff. And here we go. Yeah, this is a podcast? Yeah. This is like a promo or something? Yeah, this dude pretends to be some dork and he thinks he's cool and stuff, and now he has a podcast. Yeah, he sucks. Dan America impersonates, he impersonates you, Beavis. Yeah. Wait. No way! Then that means, like, you suck too. Damn it, Butthead! This is the Dan America or DAB590 podcast. Hey, it's DAB590, DAB590. I am Dan America Bruce, and we're talking with Magic Moon 1111. Magic, is there any reason for the 4 ones? It's like 1111?
Yeah, actually 1111 is known as what you would call like angel numbers, basically. I've been skiing it since 2019. On my computer, on my cell phone, like whenever I look at the time, apparently it means like new beginnings and new adventures, and it's really actually kind of creepy how much it happens to me. But I've been seeing it since 2019, and I still see it pretty much every day. I just happen to look at the clock at that time, or I just happen to look at my computer at that time. It's kind of weird.
Wow, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't really expecting an explanation like that, but That's pretty cool, actually. But so what you're telling me is that you're saying 1111 everywhere?
I would say, in most places, 11:11, 11:11 a.m., 11:11 p.m. It's just kind of, it's weird,
Uh,
but it happens.
you say numbers. Yeah, like I have a problem with numbers. You boys stop that. This is our second remote guest. Y'all behave now. I'll tell you what. All right. So let's move on here. So, Magic, would you say that you're primarily on TikTok, or what are your socials?
I'm primarily on TikTok. I do have Instagram. I don't like use it very much. So TikTok really is the place to find me.
Yep, that dang TikTok. I don't know much about the social medias. I mean, do I look like I know what a JPEG is? All I want is a picture of a dang hot dog. Yep, there's that famous line right there. So, why only TikTok? Because there's plenty out there. There's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's Twitch, there's X. Any specific reason why TikTok primarily?
I think it's because, I've been on since 2021. It was the first platform I went live on. And I just, got in with a really cool group of people. One of the first people I've met was a Beetlejuice impersonator.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
I met a lot of spooky people through him.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually going to
So,
show up, Beavis. Don't get disappointed. Yeah, he's a dumbass. Um, so that's pretty cool. Sorry they interrupted. Continue.
yeah, so basically, I think some of my first lives were with him, and then I had the privilege of everyone who was following him was really into Beetlejuice and just spooky stuff, spooky movies in general. And a lot of people liked my Magic Moon, witch aesthetic. And then they started following me, and that's how my following came about.
Well, that's cool. So, uh, getting to the relevance of the topic here, which is King of the Hill season 15. How big of a King of the Hill fan are you?
I mean, I have it on my TV or on my phone, it playing in the background pretty much every day. So I've definitely rewatched so many seasons. Been keeping up. I've already finished watching the new season 15. But I watch a lot, and I could quote a lot from the episodes. And but I would say I'm advanced.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you caught the second episode of this podcast, DAB590 or DAB590, but I kind of gave my King of the Hill credentials in that episode, and I calculated that over the course of the years, I've logged a ridiculous amount of numbers watching King of the Hill. I've calculated that I've pretty much watched King of the Hill for 13,000 hours
Wow.
since it's been out. Uh,
Wow.
don't want you to be intimidated by that, but I know my King of the Hill is what I'm saying. I'm not an expert. I'm an
Hmm.
enthusiast. You're a dork. Yeah, dork. Um, Now, I cosplay Hank Hill. I'm sure that you've seen my videos. You were actually in a duet with the real life Dale Gribble, the real life John Redcorn, and me, I believe.
Yes. I think this was probably about a year ago. I don't know if I was scrolling through TikTok, and I happened to be, you know, uh, found Dale Gribble, and I was like, hey, I really think your content's awesome. Do you have anyone who plays Nancy with you? And he was like, no. And he's like, would you be interested? And that's kind of how it started.
But I tell you, so we have a Nancy, But no one's gonna dang do a Peggy cosplay? What? Is no one's feet big enough? Your wife has big feet. Yeah. um, that's cool. So, uh, speaking of cosplay, what cosplay have you done, or have you done much cosplay?
Um, I mean, I would just say I just like Magic Moon is kind of like a blend of just like me and, like a witchy character. Usually my lives are, I have music on and I dance a lot of people and, just like it's a really cool place to chill. And um, I'm getting more back into my outfits and wigs that I used to have. People just really seem to like the witchy cosplay. That's been really popular for the past few years now. So I think like Magic Moon is kind of like maybe my alter ego, but trying to think if I've ever cosplayed before. I could get back to you on that. I can't remember at this moment.
All right. Yep. I wouldn't know anything about alter egos. Dan. You don't know anything about like egos and stuff. Yeah. I think I have an alter ego. His name's like I am the Great Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole. Dang it! What did I say? We're trying to behave ourselves here. But speaking of dancing with wigs on, yep. Sounds like something my boy Bobby would do. Dang it, that boy ain't right. Um, so you're primarily like a streamer, a social media presence, and a King of the Hill fan. Am I right there?
Yes. Yes, you are correct.
All right. So I don't know if you want to say anything more about yourself right now before we get into the segment talking about King of the Hill season 15. Um, so, just going over my notes here. Silences aren't bad. That's why we pre-record.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, yeah, I would say my, live streaming content journey with TikTok started in 2021 during the lockdowns. I unfortunately um, was let go from my job. I worked for a hospital franchise in the billing department. The problem with that is no one was allowed to travel, so there's no one to bill for staying at hotels. So um, I had all the free time in the world, and I was just like, why don't I just, try this TikTok thing? And I also started my own like side metaphysical crystal business that I still am active with today. Um, but it's just I'm really into a lot of spooky oh my god. Spooky, scary things. And I think it like started when I was little. I know my dad used to watch a lot of like haunted history, unsolved mysteries, and a lot of the other shows that I watched were like paranormal related. So it would be like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then when I found like Halloween was actually originated from Ireland and was a pagan holiday, I was like, this is awesome. Like there are like actual people who, you know, consider themselves or identify as witches basically. And so whenever I
Whoa!
found
Yep, well,
whenever
I suppose I can't criticize. There was that time when Bobby joined that group where they tried to make him drink some kind of blood on the baseball field. Yeah, I remember that episode. Oh, what was that episode called? But oh, I can't remember the name of that episode right now. But I don't want to backtrack too much. I want to get into season 15. Now wait a minute here. So there, Moon, you like the ghosts and goblins?
yes, I do.
Well, to each their own. What about the Dallas Cowboys?
Um, I'm not really into sports, and I know you're gonna hate that, but
Well,
I like it if Hank likes it. So
now, there's some good advice, I tell you what. If you like things that Hank likes, that means you're a dork. Yeah. Boys, what did I tell you? This is our special guest. You all got to behave. All right, on that note, since we're kind of getting into the King of the Hill vibe right now, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's going to be all about season 15. Well, I tell you, you can follow the Dan America on Instagram at DanAmerica59, the TikTok Dan America Bruce, the Facebook group Hank Hill Cosplay, the X Human America, YouTube Dan America Channel 59, and the Twitch DAB590. It's DAB590, DAB590. Magic, which one do you like more, DAB590 or DAB590?
I kind of like the dab. Like I like
Everyone
both,
likes
but there's
the
something about the
dab.
dab.
You can't dab. Yeah. You know, we've tried the dab, and everyone always tells us that we're doing it wrong. Well, you know, the DAB stands for Dan America Bruce, although my actual name is Daniel Robert Bruce, but no one's gonna derp. People know what DAB is. So, without further ado, let's get into the topic of this episode. And spoiler alert, everyone. You know, I really hate to be a spoiler, but we're going to be talking about season 15 here, the new season of King of the Hill. So if anyone hasn't seen the new season yet, there's going to be some spoilers here. I'm not going to lie. But let's dive right into that. And like I always say, not an expert. Like, I'm not going to give you an expert analysis or, like, get in depth with everything and tell you about all the guest spots or, you know, talk about, like, some weird Easter eggs that people kind of, like, make up themselves. Although there are some pretty good Easter eggs. I'm not going to lie. But I'm pretty much going to genuinely tell you what I think of each episode as a viewer, not as someone that's trying to analyze this. So, my general overall review of season 15 is I think it's great. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I enjoyed season 14, but I think I enjoyed season 15 just a little bit more. And I think it's because in season 15, I think we're really seeing the characters go back to the element that we're used to from the original seasons, but now here we are in modern day. And just like things like the electric car, the scamming thing. Oh, and then in that last season, we finally find out like what happened there, like why Hank went to Saudi Arabia and all that business. Oh, and then there was like the sad part where they finally addressed the ladybird thing and they have that new dog and whatnot. But I really enjoyed season 15 because it was as modern as it was also nostalgic. And we're getting back to that comfort zone with King of the Hill in season 15, where you can just leave it on in the background, like, you know, if you're doing the dishes, like whatever you're doing, and you can just look up and be like, oh, yeah, it's that part, and whatnot. Also, they cut down on the swearing a little bit too. I'm not complaining about the swearing, but I'm just saying they cut down on the swearing. That's pretty much what I thought about season 15. Magic, what do you think?
I would agree. I actually did like season 15 more than 14. I think, especially when a show is, off air for such a long time. You try to like reintroduce the characters, and all this time has passed, and obviously, the world is different. Seeing everyone, the older versions of everyone, was kind of like something I guess I had to like, adjust to. But I will say in 15, you do have Hank going back to Strickland. And to me, that was like really nostalgic. And you saw Joe Jack, and you saw, trying to think of the other, I think the other guy's names, I can't remember his workers' names. But
Well, Joe
yeah,
Jack is usually the one that stands out.
Joe Jack, yeah. So that was very like nostalgic to me, and how they did the tribute to Lady Bird, and it kind of like just kind of closed. We got some closure on some things, and same thing about when I heard the you know outline for like season 14. And I was just like, how did Hank end up in Saudi Arabia? And I'm just like, I just don't see him ever doing that, because he's so, I don't know, like all about Texas and proud American. And, but I was not surprised that Buck was, kind of did what he did, and because Buck's like that. So, um, but yeah, it feels a little bit just kind of more like back to where it was. Like we got used to them, like all the growing up in the older versions in season 14, and then 15 it's kind of like now it's modernized, and it's kind of like just kind of going back to the flow. And I feel like we're like really back in Arlen, and it's just fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like going back to what you were saying about episode 10 there, which is the pretty much like the big like I don't want to say reveal episode, but episode 10 explains everything. And yeah, that was like such a Buck move. And you kind of ask yourself, why would Hank go to Saudi Arabia? And in that episode, they kind of like nail it on the head there. In fact,
Mhm.
there's an episode from the original seasons. It's when they're at the propane convention and Hank gets all drunk and pretty much gets on there and he
Yeah.
starts, you know, he finally had enough and he's telling off Buck and he like eats the
Right.
microphone. Um, because I feel that if you go back and watch the earlier seasons and you watch the current seasons, there are some things where it's just like we all should have seen that coming. Like Bobby becoming a chef. I can't tell you how many episodes from the originals where they kind of like indicated that
Right.
Bobby's thing is cooking. Just some honorable mentions. Well, my favorite honorable mention is Blood in the Sauce. Do you remember that episode?
I'm trying to put in the sauce.
That is the episode where Bill gets all depressed because he doesn't have a family and tries to arrange a family reunion with his barbecue
Yeah.
pit. And
Yeah.
at first, Bobby helps out, runs away. And then when they do the second one, Bobby comes back and he's all about it.
Right.
And it's episodes like that where it's just like, of course Bobby's going to be a chef. So that's what we thought about season 15, unless there's anything else that you want to add there, Magic.
I just think that I know you touched on this earlier, basically, how modern it is with the um, electric truck and the phone scam episode. I
Mm-hmm.
found like um, really relatable and actually informative. And the Comic-Con was great. I like how Hank basically, like, that is totally not his scene. And I like how he pretty much pissed everyone off, but
Yeah,
then made up for it.
yeah. Hank wouldn't
Using
go to
his,
Hank wouldn't
yeah,
go to a Comic-Con. Dan, do I have to remind you that you showed up at New York City Comic-Con in 2025, October of 2025, dressed up as, well, me? Yep, that happened, everyone. Dan America was walking around New York City Comic Con in full cosplay. Yep. Yeah, I did that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, like, did you like see like those anime chicks and stuff? Yeah. You were like looking for like One Piece or something. I assure you guys that I wasn't looking for One Piece. I wouldn't know what One Piece was if it wasn't for my son and my friends' kids and stuff like that. I assure you. So you just walked around like a dork and you didn't even like look at the chicks and stuff? Yeah. Guys, we're talking about season 15 here. You guys have anything to add about season 15? So like, did Khan and like Bobby do it? Okay, that's enough of that. So, season 15 magic. We had some returning characters. We got to see some Reverend Stroop, and we got to see, like you said, we saw Joe Jack. I always forget Budasak's real name, but that's the other coworker. Like in the episode where Hank has to go to driving class, and that character is voiced by Chris Rock. Oh, I said I wasn't going to get
Right.
all analysis-y, but yeah. Did I just make up a word? Is analysis-y a
I think
word?
so.
Oh,
It might
okay.
be now.
Wow. All right, so we saw some. Oh, and I don't know. I can't remember exactly if we saw Jimmy Witchard in season 14, but he was definitely in season 15, and that's one of my favorite
Yep.
characters, Jimmy Witchard.
I'm the boss. I can't with him.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure Mike Judge does that voice.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can do a Jimmy Witchard here. I'm the boss of you. How is that?
That's better than anything that I can do.
You have to my job.
um,
Oh wow, that's the. If I worked on that, I think I could get it. Yeah, you need a little work. No, he's doing just fine. Don't you criticize. So, now are there any characters that returned that I'm missing? Well, we had Buck's bastard son there. Now he was also in that episode that I was referencing. Oh, I wish I could remember the name. It's like something about propane convention, but
it's yeah. Isn't that the one where like Hank gets really drunk? Because I feel
yeah,
like that's the one where his Buck's son, like he happens to meet him too, because he has a booth
yeah.
at the same convention. Yeah.
Uh, we had that returning character. Now, are there any returning characters that I'm missing here from that show up in season 15? Well, I guess we can say that Ladybird kind of returned.
Hmm.
Oh, and I don't know if you caught this. So in that episode 10, season 15, like episode 10, like they did such a great job at, the climax or the finale of the season because it answered so many questions and there was even a Luann and Lucky reference.
Right.
And I'm still curious as to see what the big reveal is going to be. If they're going to say anything about that eventually, or if they're just going to be respectful about it. But see, I don't know, and I don't like to make predictions. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to make predictions. I like to enjoy things as they're presented to me.
Right. Also, like the John Redcorn scene of him just
Oh
like
yeah,
crying and tearing up. I'm like, and everyone's just like, well, is that like the last that we're gonna see of him, or is there gonna be? I think he's gonna personally come back.
yeah.
Um,
I hope that is not the last we're going to see of John Redcorn. But yet that was a bit of like an emotional scene there.
right.
And okay, oh wow, I've been sitting here for 30 minutes. So, but that's besides the point. Moving on with our season 15 analysis here. Now, do you have anything to add on in general before we move on to what our favorite episode of season 15 was?
I mean, I would say just like when I heard the new season came out, I was just like really happy and I don't know, like it just like I said, has always been kind of like that comfort show for me. So like I'm happy to be watching it as the episodes are coming out and being involved with reviews and stuff. So yeah, it's great. It's a really good time right now.
Now, I heard on the internet, and don't trust anything that you see on the internet. Now, I know that, I don't know if it was an internet rumor. I'm pretty sure it's official that they're going to go for 18 seasons.
Yeah, I think yeah, I heard that they got 16 and 17 already approved. I didn't hear anything about 18. You might know more than me.
Well, I'm not going to go as far to say. Yep. um, I don't know why that needed that. Anyway, so favorite episode of season 15. I'll go first. And this one kind of includes a spoiler if you watch this episode. My favorite episode was the first episode. And the reason why is the ending of the episode when Peggy when Peggy finds out, or you find out how Peggy knew whose electric truck it was, and it's just like, oh my god, that is so Peggy. Just like, so she's wrong all along, gets a phone call, finds out whose truck it is, then acts like she figured it out, like she's some kind of a genius. But at the same
That's just
time,
Peggy style.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. But then at the same time, finding out that Dale knew whose truck it was all along. It's just, I thought that episode was great.
It I really enjoyed that one too. I feel like as like the first episode of the new season, it was just I don't know. I felt it gave me a little nostalgia, but like basically more modern, obviously.
Now, did you have a favorite episode?
Um, I think there were two episodes that like I was kind of like the Bill's cuddle session one,
Oh
where
yeah.
he were cuddling. That was a little weird. And then the cannon in the lake was okay. It was it was kind of like I don't know, like it was I wouldn't say like out of place, but
Well,
I did like the Comic-Con one. Just basically kind of how that it brought like Hank and Bobby together more because he didn't really understand anything about that Comic-Con world. And he kind of made an effort to sit down and, watch some cartoons and actually really understand, that a lot of people, like, um, I guess you would say anime, and like he kind of took interest to kind of make up for, the scene that he made, and then made that beautiful sword and like won everyone over. So I really like that, and also the one with Caesar salad. I think he's a
oh
cute dog.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do we have any? Well, you pretty much like went over favorite moments. Like I was going to include that one, but
Mhm.
what I want to do now, because it's 10 episodes of season 15, and I wanted to make sure that we had something to say about each episode. So, as I explained to you before, how we're going to work this is, so we're going to go down the list. We'll give, like, a brief 1 to 2 sentence uh, review of the episode, but instead of a thumbs up and thumbs down, because I love all the episodes, but some of the episodes are more like a I'll tell you what, and some of the episodes are more like a blah. So that's what we're going to do here, and I'm going to bring up my cheat sheet to look at every episode. I'm going to hit the table that my laptop is on with my knee to. Okay, so season 15, episode 1, failure to hard launch. And like I said, this was my favorite episode out of the new season. In this episode, we have the electric car thing and something I forgot to mention before, which is, but not really, because we talked about the modernization. I completely contradicted that whole 1 to 2 sentence thing, but we'll work with it. Let's toss the 1 to 2 sentence thing out the window right now because, well, I just did. But we're going to keep the other part. So this is failure to hard launch. My favorite episode of season 15. We got the electric car, and we have Bobby and Con Jr. revealing that they're dating. And, of course, I'm going to give this one I'll tell you what. What about you, Magic?
I completely agree. I'll give it I'll tell you what.
Now, is that your best to tell you what?
No, it's not. I'll tell you what. What? I'm rusty, but yeah, definitely was a thumbs up for me.
All right. Now, next, season 15, episode 2, Care of the Dog. And that is the Caesar salad episode, but also it's the Connie's birthday episode. And spoiler alert, I don't know if anyone's kept up with the new seasons, but Con and Min are divorced, and Con is living at Bill's house. And I thought that was hilarious. And Care for the Dog gives the Ladybird reference, and Care for the Dog, we're introduced to Caesar salad. And I love that whole thing about how Hank is trying to train Caesar salad, and Bill and Boomhauer and Dale are dressing up as like different things for Caesar salad to react to. This one definitely gets I'll tell you what. And what about you, Magic?
I give it I tell you what too. It's funny because Caesar is like the opposite dog that you would think, Hank would, like Ladybird. I remember when there's this one episode, it was the one with the raccoon, when Bobby was feeding the raccoon all the trash and
to kill a ladybird.
Yeah, and Hank had brought up that he'll have Bobby pick out like the next pet, and he's like, "Yeah, can we get a poodle?" And I'm trying to remember the other stuff that he said. But...
Doesn't Hank like say, "I meant a real dog, Bobby"?
Yeah, a real dog. But yeah, I think that's kind of what makes it sweet, is that like Caesar salad is like quirky and he's older, but like I don't know, he's still very sweet, and how Hank likes to, accommodate him. I know he has like different like anxieties and things like that, like you were mentioning. But I think I really enjoy the episode. It was very, very sweet.
And not only that, but also in that episode, like going back to what we were saying about how, season 15 really establishes that, it's still the good old King of the Hill that we're used to, because even though the Super Newton, oh my God, before I said this, I was determined to get it right the first time. I don't think I'm going to be able. The Super Newton-Sauls, the Super Newton, or can you
Super
pronounce?
Newton-Foam.
All right, there we go.
Super Newton-Foam.
Despite Con and Min being divorced, they're still pretty much the same. And I'm referencing the part in the restaurant where they hold Bobby to his word about paying for the dinners, and then they he pretty much steals Bobby's gift idea and all that business. But
right.
So episode 2 is a great episode. So let's move on to the next episode, which is episode 3, Searching for Bobby Fischer. And that's the phone scam episode. That's the scam episode. And I like this episode because, Dale gets into his element there. Oh, what's the new alias that he's using? Oh, I just watched this episode too. But, so Dale's not using Rusty Shackelford anymore. He has a new alias, and he gets Hank all worked up about,
scams. They try to go to that seminar and all that. Meanwhile, Bobby's in Mexico. And I believe this is also the same one where it's got that hilarious moment where Joseph forgets to hit confirm on paying the electric bill, and when the electricity goes out, he decides he has to eat everything in the apartment.
That's like classic Joseph. It's crazy.
Now, I'm not giving this one a thumbs down because, like I said, I'm not going to say I liked every episode, but this is definitely more of a blah episode because of all the chaos going on.
Right.
And so I guess that's what I'll say about this episode, but what do you have to say?
Like I said, it was like really informative and but it was chaotic. It was all over the place. In the beginning when Bobby and Joseph meet the owners of the other hotel, it's kind of like a little shady and you're kind of like, wait a minute, like what are they, really going to get into? But then it ends up working fine. And Dale gets into his whole element. I can't remember the new name he was using, but it actually it's kind of scary how you can like manipulate voices and things like that. And I'm going to be going away. I'm going to be going to New Orleans in October, and I'm going to also tell my parents about it. I'm like, I think we should have like a special code word just in case that happens, anytime. But
Are you gonna go see the Dallas Cowboys play the New Orleans Saints?
I am not. I'm gonna check out some spooky sites. I won't be like hanging with what's his name, Dandy Don Meredith or anything, or I won't be going to the Bill's plantation or anything. But
well, I think that dang Joe Burr sold the plantation. But if you can find it, well, it is the Dotree plantation, so I'm sure that there's some spooky stuff there, I tell you what.
So before we move on to the next episode, just like a brief reminder to the audience, and well, letting you know as well here, Magic. So in episode 2, when I talked about King of the Hill and me, like I'm really anal. There he said it again. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I did. When it comes to my King of the Hill viewing, like I have like a schedule. Like I'll only watch, like festive episodes during festive times, and in my opinion, there's drinking episodes. There's episodes where you only eat a burger while you're watching it. There's episodes where you only eat steak while you're watching it, and whatnot. And I suppose that's the real difference between "I tell you what" and "blah." Because just like we said, episode 3 is more of a blah because we got all this crazy stuff going on. And I'm going to go right ahead and say episode 4, Hank Encounters of the Nerd Kind, is a blah because this is the Comic-Con episode and we got some chaos going on here. And this is the episode where Hank attends the Comic-Con and Peggy and Min are in some kind of a weird poetry writing competition because they take a poetry class. And I enjoyed this one because now we got, the fish out of the water element back here. And you really went into depth about this episode before. I don't know if you want to go into that again, but, give us your review again, if you, well, I'm not expecting you to give it word for word as you did before, but let me know what you think. Again.
It's funny, like I said, I did enjoy, the Comic-Con of how like Hank kind of redeemed himself at the end, but the whole part where Peggy and Min were in the poetry class, I was kind of sort of like surprised that Peggy kind of, got a little much, too involved in Min's personal life. And I don't know, I kind of, if she wouldn't have done that, I kind of wanted to see like where it would go with her, if there was like any potential between like her and this new guy. But that's like a very kind of Peggy move. But I definitely, I give it, I tell you what.
All right. Then the next one is The Best Little Marriage in Texas. And this is where Reverend Stroop comes back. And in this episode, it's, Hank and Peggy go on the marriage retreat with the church with Reverend Stroop and all that. Dale and Nancy are in charge, apparently. Then
Yeah.
Peggy and Hank try to take charge. And meanwhile, it's the one where Bobby's trying to uh, audition for King of the Grill, and the whole King of the Grill thing. So in season 14, when they introduced this, they make that pun or that joke or that reference where they're
Right.
pretty much talking about King of the Hill, where they said, they canceled that show like 20 years ago. that was stupid. Yeah. Yeah, like that one time when they're like canceled our show. Wait, we had a show? Yep, you guys had a show. We went over this in the second episode of DAB590. But so here we are, season 15, episode 5, The Best Little Marriage in Texas. I'm going to give this one I'll tell you what. Because there's a lot of outdoor stuff going on. Reverend Stroop is back in the picture. The Bobby struggling to make the cooking show. It's a little bit blah. And, they tell Bobby to be a jerk, and Bobby is kind of a jerk, but kind of not. But we're also introduced to that new producer character in this one. I like this episode, but not as much as the other episodes. But I'll definitely give it another watch because I like the outdoorsy ones, and it's kind of like a comfort episode. But all right, I'm going to say 50-50. I'm like all over the place on this one. Magic, can you put it in one direction? And I'm not talking about that band.
um, I I would say it is somewhere like in between. Peggy was definitely right about, Nancy and Dale, not being probably the best people to run that class. But I still feel like, there is a lot of, love between them regardless of everything that, has happened. But it wasn't particularly my favorite, but yeah, with Karen coming back, Reverend Stroop, and I feel like I think it's I tell you what, definitely.
All right. Next on the list is episode 6, Changes.
This one's crazy.
I can't believe I just said that one. Okay, so this is the one. It's it's the menopause episode, and
Hmm.
Peggy just like kind of flips out. Um, Bill is trying to make some life changes, and this is the no, this isn't the cuddle episode, is it? Yeah.
I think the cuddle is separate. It's the one right after the menopause
Let's
one.
see here. Yep, you're right. And but the focus on this one is, the menopause thing, and there's a marijuana reference. Whoa! Not the marijuana. Yeah, like Hank has to buy drugs and stuff. You dumbass, it's like legal and stuff now, and like places. Yep. So to try and cure the menopause thing, they do the thing. Hank has to pick up some kind of THC product, and meanwhile, this is also where we get a little bit of more insight of what's going on at Bill's house with Con and Bill. I'm gonna keep hitting my table here with my knee, but I'm gonna give this one I'll tell you what, because all in all, it is kind of a comfort episode, and there's a Peggy's Big Feet reference. Magic, what do you think?
I was actually gonna do a wah for the
All right.
menopause episode, just because Peggy was like kind of all over the place, and she kind of like, she like sat. What was it? It's in one of those. She was sitting in the living room in one of those carts, like in like this moo, and she's like completely like given up on life,
Oh, yeah.
basically. But it was like you said, like comforting in the way that Hank's really like how he expresses his feelings. It's kind of very like it's not out there basically, but he does it in those little things. Or I think he was trying to fix where like the air vents. So like whenever she got flashes, the air would like hit her pretty much, and so she'd have like really good air circulation in the room. And I thought that was just kind of like Hank's way of, just letting Peggy know that, he supports her and he knows it's a hard time. And I found that really sweet, but I would just say it was kind of all over the place just because Peggy was all over the
Oh, yeah.
place.
Well, I enjoyed that one too, but I'd hate to, pick favorites here, but we actually did before we start talking about this one. But episode 7, Hank ruffles some feathers. I thought this one was a great episode. This one definitely gets I'll tell you what, from me. This is the episode where they have the chickens, and while that is going on, that it's the thing where Connie's failing at being a mascot, and Bobby steps in, and then Connie starts taking advantage of Bobby being such a good mascot and all that business. But what I really liked about this one was the chicken business, and the chicken turning into a rooster, and what is it, Boomhauer's girlfriend's son there being
The awkward son.
oh yeah. And so although there was like all this stuff going on in this episode, like I feel it was a little bit more like wholesome stuff. Some of the stuff that we're more used to, I could definitely kind of like say that this is something that you would expect from like the originals. I guess is what I'm saying. But I give this one I'll tell you what, just because, well, oh god, then there's that one part. I'm not even going to mention it because then it's going to get Beavis and Butthead. What does Hank say again? He was like a milking expert or something? Yeah, he says like, nobody knows how to handle a... Dang it, what did I tell you? Behave. All right. Magic, what'd you think of episode 7?
I think it was kind of did, bring back, it just reminded me of when like Bobby was a mascot himself, and how he was like really good at it. And I actually want to rewatch this one. I feel like it didn't have my full attention, but it was an I tell you what episode. It was comforting to me. It kind of, like I said, it just reminded me of Bobby being a mascot, and just kind of it took me back there. It took me back to the older episodes.
All right. Now we have 3 episodes left here. Episode 8, No Cuddle Offense. And this is the Bill Cuddle Therapy episode. We referenced the whole... Oh my god, I always forget the... Lenore, jeez. We referenced Bill's failed marriage in this episode, and apparently Bill has found a new way to cope with it, and that is cuddle therapy. And this is also the one where we revisit Peggy being a substitute teacher because one of her students has grown up and reviews Bobby's restaurant, and once the guy figures out that this is Peggy Hill's son's restaurant, gives it a bad review because Peggy gave him a bad grade. And I'm going to give this one a... You know what? Originally I was going to give it I'll tell you what. But this is... I'm going to say it's a... Whoa! Just because of the outcome and the chaos and the conflicts and... But this is definitely like a great episode 8. And you said that you really enjoyed this one too, so I'm going to let you go now and tell us more what you think about episode 8 there, Magic.
I think, like I said, like the cuddling was creepy, sort of, but I'm like, I think that's like a very kind of like Bill thing to do. And I had this like soft spot for Bill. I just like always want him to like, I hope eventually they like have him meet someone, or maybe he'll get back with Reverend Stroop. But I could definitely see that's like, a Bill move. But I was really frustrated at Peggy, how she just could not, you know, keep, her business, like just not say anything, just kind of like, try not to get involved in, especially it's Bobby's business, and that was a Peggy move, but I think, I feel like I want to give it, and I tell you what.
All right.
I feel like it, yeah.
Yep, and yeah, like that whole thing about like Peggy getting into Bobby's business and everything, like
Yeah.
like that's such a Peggy thing to do.
Yep, like that time she punched Randy Travis.
And yep. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I hear what you say about this episode, and I understand why you would give it. And I tell you what, and remember, I was gonna give it an I tell you what at first. But I think it's good that we're, kind of like, having different opinions about the episodes, and I think that we're doing a really good job at reviewing this. Now, let's move on to number 9, and that's Reality Bites, and this is definitely a blah episode, because this is the canon part, or the canon episode where they find the Civil War canon, but at the same time, Bobby's doing the reality show, and that's when they want the producers of the reality show, they want to sell like the flirting between Bobby and his partner, and Connie is getting all upset about it, and got some crazy stuff going on in the Reality Bites episode. But one thing that I really liked about the Reality Bites episode is the fact that Dale is magnet fishing. And going back to like, modernization of things, and you being a TikToker, one of my favorite things to watch on TikTok is magnet fishing. And when I noticed that Dale was doing that, I'm like, all right, this is great. He's magnet fishing.
But I didn't even know that was the thing, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
People actually do that. But what'd you think of episode 9, Reality Bites?
I think it was, I feel like the canon part kind of was kind of nostalgic. I feel like, because they go like, I'm trying to remember, like they did like the war games, and then just kind of like the old, I'm trying to reference one of the episodes. It just felt like, I don't know, something like that the guys would get involved in, especially Dale. Yeah. He's with his like quirky little activities. But it was really cool how like they got it all like nice and shined up and prepped. Yeah, and I wasn't expecting Connie to really react any other way, differently than, seeing Bobby flirt with the other girl on the show, even though I knew, it wasn't real, it's...
Yeah, and it
but,
really...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It really kind of like brings us back to, what was the name of the episode where you find out that Hank's related to the guy from ZZ Top?
Oh, that's like in one of the late, like season, I would say 12 or 13. That's, what is that one? Oh my gosh.
Well...
Yeah, I'm not really good with the names. Like, I can't, like, name the seasons and stuff.
I'm good with the names sometimes. Like I said, like, I watched, like, so much King of the Hill. I'm good with seasons 1 through 7. Seasons 1 through 7, I usually remember all of them. Oh, man. Well, but one of the things that I think is cool, and if you want to talk about, like, Easter eggs or references, or, like, point out how... The writers of the show are really like connecting dots here. So it seems like they have a distaste for reality TV, because so we have 2 episodes now where there's a reality show going on, and they make it seem like they do that thing where the producers of the reality show want to create like conflict between the contestants on the reality show, and I think that's kind of cool that they keep that going. And of course, in this episode, we see more of Bobby's great cooking skills. Yep, Chef Bobby. And, well, I gave it a blah, and you gave it a...
I think a blah.
Okay.
That was totally bad. I could do better. Blah. Sorry.
All right, how about a
Blah Blast.
Baja Blast. Yeah. I feel maybe should that be like sort of in between the I tell you what and the blah?
I think a Blah Blast. I think that one should be reserved to, like, the huge episodes, like Hanky Panky, for example, my favorite episode, or the episode where they go to the water park episode. Oh, I forget the name of that episode too. Like, that's definitely a Blah Blast, because there's a lot more going on in those episodes, but we're finally.
They go to the resort, like with the dolphin, or you said
no,
water park?
the one where the surfers won't let Bobby come.
Right.
Yeah. And well, they throw him down the slide and all that business, but we're getting sidetracked here, and we're finally there. We're finally to episode 10, Propane Recall, and this one gets a big ol' I'll tell you what, because we answer so many questions. We time travel in this one. We go back and you see Bobby when he is a little bit older, in high school and stuff. Yep, you get to see just how much that boy ain't right. He's got the weird hair and all that business, and we finally find out why Hank went to Saudi Arabia, and most important, Hank takes back Strickland Propane, and now it feels like we are officially back to King of the Hill. What do you think, Magic?
I agree. It's definitely an I tell you what episode, and I think I had said before that it's probably my favorite. I think just bringing Strickland back into the picture it's just completely nostalgic, and that's all Hank would ever talk about and was always proud about. So I like how he's back there, and I really like how they ended it. I think it was a great ending.
All right, now we made it. We just reviewed all 10 episodes of the new season of King of the Hill. How do you feel, Magic?
I feel good. It's crazy. I'm happy. I'm gonna actually rewatch it, but I'm actually kind of like sad because, like, of course I binge watch it, and I'm like, okay, when's the next season coming out? It's like a natural thing, I guess. Yeah, but there was just I like how, like, Hank, even though like the times have changed, he's still kind of like, he changes, but he's still kind of like kind of always genuine and always kind of like true to himself, and like he always seems to, even like with the cosplay thing, how that would never be his thing, and then he redeems himself with with using how handy he is, and then I actually thought that would kind of be like a cool side business for Hank since he's retired. I know he tried like the beard thing. But I was like, I think that would be cool because I'm like, he's so handy, and maybe he should do like like props for like Comic-Con events. I just really liked how they ended everything, and I think it's just very appropriate, and I'm very happy with the new season.
Yep, and it really makes you look forward to what they're going to do in the next season as well.
Right.
Because, like I said, we end this one with Hank back at Strickland. We've answered the Ladybird question. Well, it was kind of obvious, sad, but obvious.
Right.
But other than that, like we said at the beginning of this episode, this season really brought us back to that comfort zone, and we're excited about what's going to happen moving forward. But, all right, so we made it through that list. Mm-hmm. Now, I had planned 3 segments today for this episode of the podcast. Now, do you have time for the last segment here?
Yes, I do.
All right. Then, well, now also, we have officially gone over an hour, so this episode is going to be another 2-parter. And you see, that's a good thing because, you're my second remote guest on DAB590. And, I know I keep doing that. That's kind of weird, but whatever. So you're my second remote guest, and it's a good thing because, we're finding it that we can build a legitimate podcast here, I guess you could say.
Yes.
And it's fun, and you've been a fabulous, interesting guest. Thank you for not being shy about talking about or speaking your mind and whatnot. And I also noticed that you don't swear. That's good too.
I was just trying to keep it, I was just trying to keep it professional, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now, I'm not saying for future guests that if you get on here that there's no swearing allowed. It pretty much means that I don't have to list this as explicit language. But that's enough of that. We're going to take a short break here, and then we're going to get into segment 3, which is usually our fun segment. I'll be right back. We'll be right back. And now we're going to listen to one of those made-up promos, which is pretty much to me saying to sponsors and advertisers, your ad goes here.
Well, I'll tell you, you can follow the Dan America on Instagram at DanAmerica59, the TikTok, Dan America Bruce, the Facebook group, Hank Hill Cosplay, the X, Human America, YouTube, Dan America Channel 59, and the Twitch, DAB590.